For Monday, August 26, 2019. Councillor Anstett sends his regrets that he is not able to attend tonight's meeting. So we have the minutes of the public hearing held on Monday, July 22nd, 2019. Are there any errors or omissions? No. Seeing none, I declare them adopted as presented. We have the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of Council held on Monday, July 22nd. Are there any errors or omissions? No. Seeing none, I declare them adopted as presented. And we have the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held on Monday, July 22nd, 2019. Are there any errors or omissions? I have one to note, that is item 8.4 on page 10. The last name of the young lady who was at the community barbecue raising funds is Bolton, B-O-U-L-T-O-N, not Brown.
Sorry, what number was that?
That was on page 10, item 8.4, other community thank you barbecue.
Yeah.
All right, so hearing no other errors or omissions, declare them adopted as amended. We have no delegations, so we move immediately into correspondence. Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association Drive for Sustainability Badge of Support for website on page 12. What is Council's pleasure on this? Councillor Toohey.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file, please.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Councillor Anderson, thank you very much. Any discussion on this item? Look forward to the information and the button. I'd like to move to receive and file. Second, Councillor Toohey, thank you very much. I'd seen this previously, and although she's not here to hear it, I'd like to say thank you to CAO Ellen for all of her hard work on this. She ended up taking over the project on this end, and it's wonderful to see the appreciation from Interior Health for her efforts, and look forward to seeing the response, which apparently is getting international attention.
Excellent.
Any further comments on the heat study? No? Seeing none then, on the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Item 4.3, UBCN Gas Tax Agreement Community Works Fund. What is Council's pleasure on this? Councillor Toohey?
I'd like to move that we receive and file.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Anderson, thank you. According to CFO Bell, this is slightly larger this year because the federal government did give out an additional one-time only gas tax piece of funding to every municipality in Canada earlier this year, and the funds will go into reserves. So is there any further discussion? No? Seeing none then, on the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 4.4, UBCM 2019 UBCM Official Opposition Meeting Opportunities. Councillor Davenport? Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson, thank you. I previously indicated I'd like to go to the forestry breakfast, which is on Friday, September 27th, so I obviously won't be able to go to this. The one on Friday from the Liberals. But I suggest that if anyone wants to go to any of these, just make a note in your itinerary or your diaries for UBCM. They're typically fairly small, so you do get a good chance to speak with the ministers involved, which is quite nice. And on the breakfast on the Friday morning, quite a few MLAs are present, and again, you get a lot of one-on-one time. So they generally they sprinkle them around. You've got one or two on each table. All right. Any further comments, questions? Councillor Toohey?
Thank you, Mayor Roden. I just want to note that I probably will attend the housing and transportation for growing population, because I'm sure that probably is quite interesting. And also I noticed that it's Todd Stone, and he's from Kamloops, and he's quite aware of what we are doing in our area. It would be great to talk with him.
That's the one that I put marked as well.
Yeah.
Great. Any further discussion? On the question then, all those in favor? Opposed and carried. Item 4.5, we have a letter from Gary Patera requesting a letter of support to develop a taxi service in the Ashcroft area. Councillor Tui?
I'd like to move that we provide a letter of support for Mr. Patera in pursuing a taxi in our area.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Anderson. I'd like to just propose an amendment that we write a letter of support for taxi service and do not put the name of the individual, just indicating that we have a need, we've identified a need for transit in the community. So that way it is a generic letter of support for taxi service and not for an individual person or business.
Okay. Yeah.
And do I have a seconder for the amendment? Councillor Anderson, any discussion on the amendment? No? All right, on the amendment then, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. Back to the main question, letter of support. Is there any discussion on that? Councillor Anderson.
I'm excited that, we want to support new business in our community, and I think this is a great endeavor. We did in the past have a taxi service, did we not? And
Yes.
it kind of petered out. So it's good to see another taxi service come to the area.
Yes, thank you. Any further discussion? No. On the main question then, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 4.6, Ashcroft Fall Fair, request for volunteer judges. Councillor Anderson.
I have already offered I put my name forward
Okay.
as well.
All right. I'd like to move then that any council members who would like to be involved as a volunteer judge contact Cat Chatton directly and express their interest. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Davenport, thank you. I did it last year, it was quite fun. So, Councillor Tui.
I'm just wondering, thank you, Mayor Roden. I'm just wondering if we could maybe make an amendment to that and have staff send an email to Kat with the names of any councillors interested. It might be easier, one email going saying, yes, I would be interested, or that we all would be, so that she has that.
Okay. I don't think we need an amendment for that, do we? No.
Just a
So that's
suggestion.
fine.
Okay.
I just suggested everyone get their names in quickly because it's coming up fairly fast and they probably need to know how many judges they're going to get, so.
Limited time, food vending.
Right. All right, any more discussion on the volunteer judges for the fall fair? On the question then, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item 4.7, Green Communities Committee, Level 4 Achievement of Carbon Neutrality. And what is council's pleasure on this? Councilor
Make a
Anderson?
motion to receive and file.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Davenport, thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilor Tui.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. I'm just wondering if I could have permission to send a copy of this to Communities in Bloom. I think it would be a good thing for them to put in their portfolio, saying that all the great things we've been doing. And also I was wondering if there could possibly be a newspaper article about it.
Okay. Certainly, because it's in a public meeting agenda, it's free to be disseminated, so please feel free to give it to Communities in Bloom, and I agree that would be an excellent thing for them to have in their portfolio.
Yeah,
To share it.
great, thank you.
Excellent. All right, any further discussion on the question? Seeing none. All those in favor, opposed, carried. Thompson Rivers University, Education Skills and Career Services Open House coming up very rapidly. I'd like to move to receive and file. Second, Councilor Tui, thank you. Any further discussion? No? Seeing none then on the question, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Information, excuse me, correspondence listing for August the 26th, 2019. I'd like to move to receive and file the information correspondence for August 26th. Oops, no, that's not the date. Yes, for August 26th, 2019.
And it is.
It is. Thank you. Councilor Anderson, it is the end of August already. Councilor Tui.
I just want to mention in there, called the, well, they have it as Old Ashcroft, it was, called, what was it, Ole Ole Ashcroft?
No, it was Old
Oh, was
Ashcroft.
it Old Ashcroft? Oh, okay. But the, if anybody didn't get a chance to read the edition that the kids did at the museum, it's great. And it's in that folder over there, and they did a newsletter up, and it's just so darn cute.
Yes, and they gave themselves all titles as well.
Yes.
On the newspaper, so
Yes.
that's great. They came
They
through,
were all reporters.
they came through the journal office before and got a tour of the building, and
Yeah.
they went off and produced a newspaper in less than an hour, so.
There you go.
There you
Farm.
go.
Hire them.
All right, so any further discussion on the information correspondence listing? Councillor Davenport.
What is important to me, I did a letter from Angela Mandelli, her letter regarding pesticide and outlining in her neighborhood, what's in the house that she lives in. So I was wondering if how, as council, do we bring this forward to chat about and possibly investigate other means of weed control.
Right. We could direct staff, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, we could direct staff to arrange a meeting with the village foreman to discuss the use of glyphosate in the village and alternatives and what has been done in the past, and if any investigations have been done in the past. So would you like to make that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Anderson, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Sweet.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that it's just really important for us to take a look at it, because as each council changes, there's probably different feelings on how they feel about using this type of weed control.
Certainly. All right, any further discussion? On the motion then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. I believe we actually had two motions on the floor at that time, but, so now we move through, the motion on the floor is to receive and file the information correspondence.
Okay, we'll
Oh, that's okay. So, any further discussion? No? Seeing none then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. And you will have had on your desk when you arrived here three more items to be discussed. So we move on to item 4.10, which is a request from Jean Norris for the free use of the Heritage Park gazebo for the Terry Fox Run. And we grant Ms. Norris's request to give them use of the Heritage Park, the gazebo in the Heritage Park for the Terry Fox Run, which traditionally does begin and end there. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Toohey, thank you. I just want to say it's great to see this going ahead. I know that the longtime organizers were anxious to move on to other things, and they did find a replacement last year, so looking forward to the continuation. I've spoken to people at the Terry Fox Foundation who always express their appreciation and wonder at how well Ashcroft does in terms of participation and dollars raised over the years.
What is the date?
I believe it's September 15th. Yes.
Weekend afternoon, or?
And the sign is already in place on Evans Road, is it not? Warning about closing the road?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the other day.
I'm not sure, I will follow.
Okay, because I thought I saw the sign there, so we might want to follow up and see if they have made a request to close Evans Road. I'm sure they have. So on the motion then, item 4.10, all those in favor, opposed, carried. We have a report from the Office of the Ombudsperson, quarterly report showing complaint files closed for the Village of Ashcroft, April 1st to June 30th, 2019. Move to receive and file. Second, Councillor Davenport, thank you. Is there any discussion on the report from the Office of the Ombudsperson?
Just a question, so this is a quarter year, April 1st to June 30th, just I haven't seen any previous ones, so do we get them on a regular basis every quarter year?
This is the first that I've seen.
Yeah, but this is the first I've seen as well, so.
Oh, okay.
So it could be something
Maybe
new that
something
they've
new.
instituted.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any further discussion on the Ombudsperson's report? On the question then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. And item 4.12, the Vancouver Foundation, the Jack Gin Family Foundation, $1,000 donation to the Ashcroft Museum. I would like to move that we send a letter of thanks to the Vancouver Foundation, read the Jack Gin Family Foundation donation to the Ashcroft Museum. Councillor Anderson, thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this? Councillor Tudor.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. I see that in here, we can each individually, as well, send an email of thanks to the foundation, so I think that would be advisable if anyone.
Certainly encourage any council members to also send a letter of thanks in support. Gin Family gives several scholarships each year at Desert Sands Community School as well, so they are tremendous benefactors for the community in different ways. Any further discussion on this? No? Seeing none on the question, and all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5.1, we have, the actionable motions list. We have unfinished business on page 24. The items that have been pursued over the last little while. And move to receive and file. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Toohey, thank you very much. Regarding the item on MIABC, as a voting delegate for the Village of Ashcroft, I will be talking to MIABC tomorrow about a service that they provide to member municipalities, of which we are appreciative. They like to feature these on an ongoing basis in their magazine. So we'll be talking about the service whereby you can get an inspector to come in and look at a feature in your community, and I know the village availed itself of that and had the playground inspected, because we do not have anyone who can do that, who's certified, and they came and pointed out a number of items, and they do this for free. So, and then they come in and do the study, and then they present you with a very detailed report of everything they find. Who knew there was that much to find in playground equipment? But it is a very valuable service. All right, on the motion, any further discussion? No? Seeing none then, on the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. New business procurement policy, pages 25 to 35. What is council's pleasure on this? Councillor Toohey.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. I'd like to move that council adopt the procurement policy F01/2019.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Anderson, thank you very much. And is there any further discussion on this? DCO Dick has noted that in the event that council does pass this policy, then she will be contacting the office of the ombudsperson immediately to give them that information. Any further discussion? No? Excellent procurement policy. All right, so women on the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 6.2, strategic plan for review and input, page 36. Councilor Anderson.
So I'll make a motion, thank you, Mayor Roden, that council endorse the Village of Ashcroft strategic plan 2019 to 2021, and that council support the actions identified in the plan throughout its duration.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Davenport, thank you very much. And just as was noted before the meeting, just to note that this is all investigation. Nothing is going to be ruled out. We are just looking at ways forward. So there will be lots to be going on with here. And I'm sure we will all learn a lot. Also, I just, excuse me, I find the listing of the current projects and the proposals or priorities identified by various groups quite helpful in showing everything that we're working on and what the community has identified as being priorities to them or of importance to them. And it's a reminder, I think, that no matter how much we accomplish, there's always lots of work to do. Councilor Davenport.
Do
I do like how it was laid out. It's very exciting to go through the different steps and moving forward and action plans. It was very helpful, thank you, to be able to understand what we all spent many hours in this room putting together, so thank you.
Yes, it is very clearly laid out and very, gives a very good idea of the work involved and the stakeholders involved as well. All right, any further comments, discussion on the motion? And all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item 6.3, anti-whistling memo. We have an engineering report bringing us up to speed. There was no pun intended in that. I'd like to move to receive and file. Councilor Devlin, second, are you second? Second, thank you. Thank you to staff for endeavoring to track down these groups. Thank you so much. DC,
Your Worship, if I may, earlier today I received a phone call from one of the agencies that was contacted, and they've asked that they be able to provide it, that they could still provide us with a report, so we will be getting one before the end of the month.
Great, thank you very much. Is there any further discussion? No, thank you again to staff for your work on this. It can't be fun tracking down all these groups from many years ago.
And it was previous CAO.
Oh. All right, any further discussion? On the question, and all those in favor, opposed, carried. Item 6.4, relaxation of the watering restrictions at Villa Frontera. Councilor Tui.
I'd like to move that council allows watering half of the Villa Frontier land on one day and then the other half on the other day. So even and odd one side. I think it's B.
Second that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion on this? Councilor Tui.
I think maybe in a letter that, if this passes, that we send a letter and recommend that modifications be made on their irrigating system, that this isn't an answer forever, that this is a temporary solution, that perhaps they can do some modifications so that they are compliable to our bylaws. Compliant to our bylaws.
In that case, I propose an amendment saying that we allow them to do the odd even watering, one half, but that we give them a deadline for making modifications so that they are compliant, whether it's introducing a new watering system with meters, et cetera, so that then they can be compliant and get the whole thing done on their allotted day. As is pointed out in the staff report, many people in the community had to get new systems or at least make modifications at expense to themselves.
Yeah,
And it's my feeling that if the village can manage to do this with the huge amounts that we have to water, that Villa Frontera will be able to. I understand, however, that, thank you, Councillor Tui, that making those modifications quickly at this time of the year is not going to be something that they can probably do, so giving them
maybe
an opportunity.
year.
Until, say, the beginning of when the watering restrictions are put in place next year on May 1st. So that we allow we provide the relaxation as is suggested in point B, but that we give them until May 1st of next year to come into compliance so that they can cut down and only be watering on odd or even days, not both.
Yeah, with modifications to their irrigating system. I think that also would give them time to have a discussion at their AGM that they usually have for
What that's
strata.
going to look like and what the cost will be.
Yeah.
So do I have a seconder for the amendment? Thank you. Okay, so on the amendment then, is there any further discussion on the amendment? All right, on the amendment then, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. And- Oh, that's it, that's the motion now, isn't it? No? Okay, now we need to vote on on the motion, which is that staff contact Villa Frontera and let them know that, what council's decision Any further discussion on this? Nope. Seeing none then, on the question, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Ashcroft Mosaic Artists, page 52. What is council's pleasure on this? Councilor Tui.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we defer to the next budget of 2020 to decide on what we would like to do with the sign for the highway.
All right, so option one.
Option one,
Option
yes.
one, all right, thank you. And do I have a seconder for that? Councilor Davenport, thank you. It was very exciting to hear about this proposed project, and it'd be interesting to get more information about it and see if we can move forward. Any further discussion regarding mosaic signs? Councilor Tui.
Thank you, Mayor. I think, like was mentioned here, to be part of the fall mixer is an excellent idea to get the community involved so that they know what our ideas are, or what Maureen and Daniel's ideas are, and that we support them, and that we want to move forward, and that we can look into how we can do that.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion?
Well, the mosaics, thank you, Mayor. The mosaics are bringing in, you know, a lot of attention into our community, and I think that's a great avenue for the village to support this as they build more. And continue with the run, be the mosaic village of BC.
Look what the murals did for showing us. Councilor Tui, and then Councilor Davenport. No, Councilor Tui and then Councilor
Okay.
Davenport.
If you say so. Thank you, Mayor. I'm just wondering if we need to send a letter to them, letting them know that we definitely are wanting to move forward, but because of budget, we will be deferring it to 2020.
I believe staff would write to.
Yeah, so that would be an automatic thing to let them know. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Davenport.
And further to the end of this recommendation, the cost of the sign and what I'd like to see, because it may take up to a year to actually identify a place for it along the highway. We all know that the signage for the highways is difficult, or, you know, to get noticed from a small town point of view. So I think it'd be good for us to look into that as soon as possible.
I think much is going to depend on the sale of the Metro Vancouver property.
Exactly.
They're letting it go up here, so
Yeah.
that's in a state of flux at the moment.
Not to lose that opportunity.
No. No. All right, any further discussion? On the question then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Item 6.6, water conservation plan, we have an addendum to say. I'd like to move that council endorse the addendum to the Village of Ashcroft Water Conservation Plan and that council support the implementation of the plan. Councilor Anderson, second, thank you. Any comments or discussion on the water conservation plan addendum? Interesting to see the reduction in, that's been achieved so far. And also, I'm glad it points out all the education that has gone on. We gave away quite a few of those water meter kits at the community barbecue, so it was good to see those go. People really like the gauge that shows you how moist the soil is. So I think people find that very helpful because there's a tendency it looks dry, and you put the gauge in and go, oh, it really isn't that dry actually, so.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. That's the voice of experience speaking, I think. All right, any further discussion? On the motion then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Bylaws, we have no introduction or first two readings of any bylaws. Item 7.2, we have third reading of bylaw number 832/2019, the dog control and town operation. Councillor Anderson?
I'll make a motion for the staff's recommendation that the council approve the third reading of the Village of Ashcroft Dog Control and Town Operation Bylaw number 832/2019.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Toohey. Any discussion on this? No? All right. And this will come back for adoption at the meeting on September 9th. So, all those in favor on the question? Opposed? Carried. Item number 7.22, bylaw number 833/2019, consolidated fees and charges bylaw. Councillor Davenport.
Motion that the council approve the third reading of the Village of Ashcroft consolidated fees, charges bylaw number 833/2019.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson, thank you. And again, this will come back before council for adoption on the 9th of September. Any discussion? No? Seeing none then, on the question, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. We move on to reports. Finance Committee, no meeting, no report. So that takes us to tourism and economic development. Councillor Davenport.
No report. I'll to comment on the discussion with BCO about looking forward to working on a few new initiatives in the tourism and economic front in September.
Oh, great, thank you. All right, leave us in suspense. All right. All right, Heritage, Councillor Toohey.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing really as far as meetings, but I must say that I was really impressed with what the museum offered this summer. It was absolutely excellent. Their Mondays, they had children coming in for Mexican Day, Japanese Day, Mining Day, the newspaper day,
The plein air.
and then this week, just today.
I saw them all trooping out and they all came back in 15 minutes.
Yes, they did. What were they doing? I know there was wanted posters somewhere. Oh, we did a treasure hunt today.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And the numbers were down because 3 of my grandchildren had COVID. So. Also, they did a Heritage Day on last Sunday, I believe it was, where they did bridge building and there were 3 groups.
Mm-hmm.
One group happened to be myself and my grandchildren, and they won prizes. They won for the longest bridge and the most creative, and then there was the strongest bridge, and so they were all made out of materials that they were offered at the museum. And they showed and talked about the 5 different bridges that were actually in Ashcroft. I didn't realize there were that many, because some of them look quite similar.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was quite interesting, and the kids really enjoyed that.
It's a great program. I see the kids coming past the office on Mondays and it's wonderful. They're so excited. And, I know in 2017 it was a bit of a curtailed season because of the wildfires, but it's great to see it's come back the last 2 years. And I love the fact it celebrates, Mexico was one, Japan was another, so that's really nice for the kids, I think.
Yeah, and really well done. I mean, the staff there is excellent.
Yeah, they're awesome. All right, Northern Development Initiative Trust, Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor Roden. There hasn't been a meeting since the last one yet, and the next one's coming up in about 3 weeks on September 17th in 100 Miles, so I'll be attending that.
Good, thank you. Gold Country Community Society, no meeting, no report, although I have heard that the display storyboards that they want to put in at the old visitor information site, which is on Emperor Frontage Road out there by the card lock, that has been identified. There was some uncertainty about who owned it. Ministry of Transportation has indicated that they do own the property, so that will, I believe they are prepared to work with Gold Country on putting up signs there which will tell the story of the 2017 wildfires. Historic Hat Creek, no meetings since the last one. There were 2 proposals put in answer to the RFP for taking over the site, one from the Friends of Historic Hat Creek, who currently run it, and one for the Bonaparte Indian Band. An answer was due on the 6th of August, and then it was deferred to the 16th, and then it was deferred to the 20th, and now we've been told it might be the end of this week. So until we hear back, there has been no meeting of the board. Cache Creek Environmental Assessment, no meetings. The last meeting I told you about the tour we took up there. As far as I know, everything is still on schedule for the Camel Hill landfill to open on in September or October of this year, after many setbacks anyway. Thompson-Nicola Regional District, there was a directors meeting 10 days ago in Kamloops, and the item of most importance for our region is the fact that staff had identified a location on Campbell Hill Drive East where the old chip reload site is, and staff were directed by the board to pursue purchase of that property for the development of an eco depot serving Ashcroft, Cache Creek, and the surrounding areas. So we don't know yet the results of the request to purchase. The hope is, I believe, that if the agreement is reached, then they can start doing the engineering work that needs to be done out there to develop the eco depot. An interesting thing that they found, which makes ours different to the other eco depots in the TNRD, is that many of the eco depots serve rural people who do not have garbage pickup, so there's a lot of garbage coming in from private people. Most people who replied, 200 people responded to the survey and very few indicated they would be bringing household garbage. It was mostly recycling. So that will factor into the design of the eco depot. It's not going to be just a boilerplate eco depot like they have everywhere else. It will be designed for the needs of the communities identified in the survey. All right, transit, Councillor Davenport.
I don't believe there has been a meeting since the last. There is a meeting coming up on September 10th, which is the day after our next council meeting. So I will have a report, knowing perhaps that Councillor Anstead won't be able to make it. So that's in Clinton. I will make the time to go to that meeting at 11 o'clock.
Great, thank you very much. That's the village office.
Yes.
Communities in Bloom, Councillor Toohey, getting close to the big day.
It is. We haven't heard anything yet. No official report, but it was nice to see that, excuse me, Safety Mark's did some landscaping and to improve, and I have heard that the credit union will be doing some as well.
Oh,
Just
good.
too bad it wasn't all done before the judges came. But it's nice to see that people are taking landscaping into consideration.
I did see one lament for the grubbing up of the Russian sage. Someone was very excited to see that go. 'Cause it was
Yeah.
quite lovely.
Yeah.
All right, healthcare. Well, I do have a report. I came here from a health round table that was from 4:15 until 6:15 today, so I had to leave early. The health round table has been set up to address various healthcare issues in this region, and people at the table, First Nations Health Authority, council members from Ashcroft, Cache Creek, Clinton, the Health and Wellness Coalition, Patient Voices Network, quite a few people from Interior Health, obviously. And the last 2 meetings have focused on the emergency department closures. At today's meeting, I think great strides, very promising strides were made in moving forward with a sustainable model that will answer the needs of a lot of people and answer a lot of concerns. It will certainly provide stability for the emergency department. Ultimately, it's leading to, community, I'm blanking now, on the patient care, primary care network. Primary care networks are a ministry directive to go throughout the province. They've had 2 waves so far, rolling it out in communities. And what you do is you apply as a community and say you want to be part of the primary care network. And I've given you all just sort of an outline of what primary care networks are. So they believe that the next expression of interest are going to be requested close to winter of this year. And there have been discussions in the community between Interior Health and about healthcare and about moving into the primary care network. Everything about the emergency department has actually pushed that forward and made it faster. It's actually expedited the process because you need to tie everything together. That's part of what a primary care network does, is gather all your healthcare things in one place and everything is a part of a team. So this has actually pushed us forward in terms of applying. So the plan is for Ashcroft to answer the expression of interest, or our region, to be taken on into the primary care network. If we are accepted, then that team has 4 months to come up with what the plan, what that will look like, submit it to the ministry, and if you are approved, there is additional funding in place to start providing the pieces of the puzzle. So it would be a huge thing forward for Ashcroft if we could do that. So unfortunately, there was a small presentation I had to leave about that tonight. I had to leave. So going forward, it's very exciting. Gary had, pardon me?
Just have a question there, Lily.
Yep, I just wanted to say, I would, there will be another meeting probably within 2 to 3 weeks, but I had to leave before the end of the meeting, so I don't know when that meeting will be. That's right.
Just a question, you said Ashcroft had to answer an expression of interest. Who would be doing that?
That would be Interior Health. So it's not the village of Ashcroft.
Okay.
There would probably be village involvement because they will have 4 months to pull together what this is going to look like, and they will be consulting, lots of consulting with stakeholders. For example, one example that was given was nurse practitioners. Nurse practitioners in a lot of communities are very autonomous, and so this would be making the nurse practitioner part of the team. So working with the other members of the team rather than just being off by him or herself. So it might make it, that might make Ashcroft a more viable candidate for getting a nurse practitioner.
And they are going forward with this expression of interest, then?
That's the plan. So the plan is for the Health Roundtable to put out a communique, press release at the end of after each meeting. It has to be approved by Interior Health, so it doesn't happen terribly quickly. And it did not happen in the case of the last meeting, so that's why I had nothing to present, because I kept expecting somebody to come through and nothing ever did. So, did anyone have any questions? No? All right, we move on to Seniors Liaison, Councillor Toohey.
I have nothing to report.
I think everyone will enjoy the next seniors report. Lois Petty has taken it over for Joyce West, and Lois has written it in the form of a poem. So. All right, and does anyone else have any other to bring forward? Sorry, was that? Oh, okay, so I thought you were bringing your hand up. Any other to bring forward? No? All right then, can I have a motion to receive the verbal and written reports as presented? Councillor Anderson, second. Councillor Davenport, thank you very much. On the motion then, all those in favor, opposed, carried. All right, CFO Bala, do you have anything to report?
Nothing, your worship, in this Chief Administrator.
Oh, I keep skipping up. Acting CAO Dick. For some reason, it seems no matter what capacity you're in, I'm determined to skip over you, and I'm terribly sorry.
My focus will be working on preparing the UBCN binders. The book should be received, the resolutions book is coming in probably early next week, and we'll be getting that already. And then we're excited to see our new CAO arrive.
Yes.
That's really good.
Thank you very much. And CFO Bella, I gather you have no report. Thank you. And DCO Dick, do you have anything in that capacity? That's okay, woman of many hats. No? All right, thank you. All right, we move on to question period. Questions from the gallery. Victoria.
I have several questions, but I'll try to keep them in order. First deals with 4.3, the gas tax funds letter. And I'm just wondering, it says in the letter that funding under the program may be directed to local priorities that fall within one of the eligible project categories. It does not mention those, and I just want to ask if you know those offhand, what those eligible categories are for that money.
It's my understanding that a lot of gas tax funding has to be used for energy efficiencies and upgrades.
Yes, Your Worship, and capital spending in general falls under there, so water, sewer, the primary costs of the village. There's a list they provide us every year. They expanded it slightly over the last couple of years, but it's generally capital projects of core village operations.
Dealing with 4.9, the letter from Todd Hubner as the information correspondence regarding pedestrian crosswalks. And I know that you're going to be meeting with the Minister of Infrastructure and Transportation at UBCM, dealing with that particular issue, or one of the issues that you're going to bring up. So I'm just wondering if it's possible to act now with regards to contacting the private contractors, Dawson contractors, to make the crosswalk visible. Again, I had another close encounter with a vehicle that did not see the crosswalk as we were trying to cross. And the crosswalk is totally obliterated, you don't see it at all. It's very hard with that angled curve to see even the signs. And people are just bombing through there, and we even waved, tried to get people to stop, to slow down, but they just ignored the fact that there was a crosswalk. I know it's a responsibility of the contractor. They should have, I mean, you did all your crosswalks recently, and it would be nice that Highway 97C would also do the crosswalk that's required.
I don't know the schedule for Dawson, who are the ones who do that. I understand that they do move further, they start up north and move south as the weather, so that they keep the bad weather up north, but we can certainly send an inquiry to Dawson and ask them when they will be doing that, and ask if they can possibly expedite it if they are in the area for other things.
Thank you, and thank you to council for putting in the extra crosswalk at the library. That was very well used, and thank you very much for that, putting that extra one in. I'll wait until others have a
Anyone
chance.
else have any? Jim?
You accepted your 2019-2020 proposal in here, did you?
The strategic plan?
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
because that says you are going to buy a portable sign.
Well, as I said earlier, it is a discussion. I mean, it does say we will buy a portable sign, but if we look into it and decide that it does not meet the needs, this does not commit us to doing that,
Okay.
but we have to have something to work on, so that will allow us to do the investigations, to look into the possibilities, the pros and cons. We could well find, looking into it, that they are prohibitively expensive, or that there really aren't enough sites that they can be put on. So that will come out in the course of the discussion, but it does not mean that we definitely will be purchasing a portable sign.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, the intent to purchase a portable sign, so that is our intention, but we could uncover information that changes our minds. Questions? Where?
Regarding 6.1, the procurement policy, I know I asked at previous council meetings, and I was concerned about 7.1, that particular part of the procurement policy that is for special professional services, and especially about the sole sourcing of engineering. I asked, and just to give you some background information or about history again, there was an ombudsperson report investigation in 2015 by a group of residents, not myself included, but there was a group of residents from the community that brought it forward. The investigation did find out that there was sole sourcing of urban systems for the pre-design of the water treatment plant. The citizens were also concerned about the high cost. My concern is that as written, when I asked the question last time, as written, as the policy was, as it is written now, would the process followed have been different? Would there have been a different outcome? And the answer with 100% certain is that was by the CAO said, no, it would not have made any difference, where the same process would have been followed with the same results. So my question is, the procurement policy, was it developed with the assistance of Urban Systems or through some other means?
DCOD?
Was not developed in any affiliation with Urban Systems at all. It was developed purely in-house. We researched other communities and drafted the bylaw completely in-house.
Thank you.
And I believe the Office of the Ombudsperson has seen the draft.
And with regards to that same section, there is a section, it says through the annual budget process and approval of the 5-year plan. I'm just wondering if council will consider now opening meetings, budgetary meetings, open to give public the opportunity to provide for input for budgetary items. I notice that on the list of scheduled meetings, budget meetings are never listed. And I'm wondering, and in some communities they are, and even at the TNRD, I believe it is listed, and public can attend and make some kind of input, give feedback, and I just am wondering if there is any possibility of council reconsidering putting those budget meetings on a schedule and indicating to the public to be able to participate in it and give timely input rather than input basically rubber stamping what council has already.
Well, we already do have two. We have one statutory budget meeting, and we usually do two. The first one is for the public to provide input, and the second is to look at the 5-year financial plan. So the public does have an opportunity to come to a public meeting, discuss what is going on, what we're proposing, and provide their input, which is before the budget is finalized, so we do have an opportunity to take that into account in the budget planning process.
Yes, that was, I think it was about 5 minutes at the very end of a very long meeting, a community forum, that it was proposed. Or any changes, anybody want anything, last chance to say anything? It wasn't really much of a discussion, so I'm just suggesting that you have a separate budget meeting rather than combining it with a community forum where you have 5 or 6 different items and have that at the very end.
We could consider that for next year, or having a much lesser agenda, say maybe only one other thing if there's an emergent issue or something large, like for example, the water treatment plant, if there was something like that we felt the public should be updated on at that time, and then we could certainly devote, I'm assuming I'm correct, CFO Bala, that we could devote more time at the town hall forum to the budget discussion, or perhaps move it to the front of the discussion, move it to the front of the evening rather than the end?
Yes, Your Worship, we can change the format. The format usually covers what our financial situation is, what our assets are, what our various liabilities are, what's coming through, and then we go over what the projects are planned, and then we ask for input on whether other projects are priorities, and it deals in that manner so that the public knows what our means are to do things, and then what we can proceed with. So the format is open to change. I can work with council, mayor and council to look at a different format if that's what's preferred.
And just a reminder that as with the trail situation that was it created the whole meeting tonight, the public is free at any time to come and make a presentation about a project that they would like to see or would like to see advanced in a more timely manner. And the more advanced notice we get of the community's wishes and desires, the more opportunity we do have to include them in the budget discussion when we start those in the spring. So if you have something that you would like to see, then please feel free at any time to come before council so that we can write it down and add it to the list.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Gloria?
Concerning 6.6, the water conservation plan, the reporting requirements that the village needs to change in order, let's see, reporting requirements need change to village water conservation plan requiring village endorsement. And I'm just wondering, with section water metering, There is a section that describes when grants become available or everything is contingent on grant. I know that a very, very fast way of reducing water is to incur costs. And if people have to be restricted by water meters, they will very, very quickly learn to conserve. So what I would suggest, or not a question, but a suggestion, is that you prepare in advance for the opportunity of a grant funding, because often these grant funding opportunities are within a very short window, a couple of months, and if you have all the information already prepared and ready to go, it probably would go a lot faster. And I do know that it was part of the master water plan to have water meters, I believe, in place by 2020, which will, I know that you discontinued that entire plan and dropped it, but I still think it's a very important one considering the trends throughout all of the communities in BC. Regarding the fourth one on leakage reduction, the water master plan did indicate that there were about, now I'm just guessing, I'm using my memory, which is not very good these days, so I'm thinking I read somewhere that there were 21 leaks within the system, and that the leaks were going to be addressed as funding became available or whatever manpower became available. And that one of the bigger thing that the report had said is that people were keeping their taps on in winter in order to avoid freezing up their pipes. And I'm just wondering on both of those, what is the status of the leaks, those different leaks? I do know that there's another one, or maybe it's not another one, it's on McLeod Lane that seems to get bigger and bigger every time I walk past there. I just want to know what the status of addressing those leaks are, as well as the education of the people who I think are identifiable in keeping those that keep their taps on.
All right, to go with your first question about the status of leaks, I do not have that information. I would have to check with the village foreman and see where that stands. So that's something that we can pursue. Regarding the education, we do, when something like that is reported to us, an infraction, and we do follow up with people, usually with letters, just pointing out to people, and I think in about 90% of cases, people are compliant once it's pointed out to them, and once they realize someone knows, then they stop doing it. So generally we find that the carrot rather than the stick is a good approach, and it works with most people. So certainly, if I'm sure if crew are aware of properties like that, they will be following up. And that will be followed up from this office. But certainly, I mean, that might be something then to put in the village newsletter coming closer to the time when people are shutting off their water system. It's just a reminder to people to shut off your taps and you know, this is why you should do it, and this is what can happen if you don't.
Or on the digital sign.
Or on the digital sign. Sure. Excuse me. Yes.
Section 7.2.1, the dog bylaw, it did say that there were attached schedules and they are not there, and I was not able to see those, so just that's an informational piece. At least I couldn't see them in the agenda, so I'm assuming that they are not. I could be wrong, I miss things all the time, so. And I think that was scheduled ABC or something like that I couldn't find, so maybe they're there. If they are put on the website, that would be appreciated.
All right.
And 7.2.2, the fees bylaw, I'm just wondering, there is a $50 an hour fee for routinely researched information, and I'm just wondering, so if people come into the village office, is that considered and ask a question, is that on the clock for routinely researched information, or what are we looking at when it says routinely researched information is going to cost $25 for the first half hour and $12.50 for the next 15 minutes, and $50 an hour thereafter, or something like that?
So that's any requests that take up any
significant amount of staff time. If you're coming to the counter and there's a simple question and we can provide an answer quickly, then there aren't, and anything over and above that, if it requires in-depth research, then that's taking staff time away from their regular duties, then we have to recover those costs. So that's what those are about, fees allocated.
So is there usually an estimate given to that person then? For instance, when I asked about Evans Road, and if it's private or public, and what's the documentation on that, would that be, you know, how does that, how do you determine how much time you put in or to recoup your costs?
If I may, Abhishek, we are not giving estimates. You know, after the fact, we look at how much time it has taken and try and be cognizant of how much time it's taken and then charge accordingly.
Because presumably you have no way of knowing in a lot of cases when you start off how many hours it's going to take.
That is correct.
That doesn't seem really fair to me. It doesn't seem like that's a logical way to do it, because freedom of information, they give you the first 3 hours of research free, and then thereafter, but they always give an estimate before they proceed. So I just, you know, all of a sudden, if you're given, oh, I actually required 10 hours of research into that, and you weren't aware of that, and you know, you've got a $500 bill, that would be quite substantial to someone. So just for consideration, how you would charge that.
I would assume that someone handling freedom of information requests on a regular basis, as you quoted, would have a much better estimate or a handle at the beginning of an investigation of how much time it was going to take. Here we have very limited staff, obviously, who have a lot of other duties, and they won't necessarily know right off the top of their head how long it's going to take. And, you know, as CFO Bala said, you know, they're cognizant of the amount of time it's taking, and it's taking them away from other duties. So while they're researching this material, there are other things that aren't getting done. So, yeah, but as acting CAO Dick said, if someone comes to the counter and has a fairly simple request, it's going to take 5-10 minutes. No, you're not. The meter doesn't start ticking away.
And on, in the fees bylaw, there was something about non-resident users will be charged to use the arena, and that was going to be through Teams. Teams were going to be charged an extra, I don't know, $30 or something. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were. I can see that being controlled because you can see a team from out of town, etc. But what about the individual who wants to go skating one time and they're from out of town? Do they have to pay the $30 plus the fee, and they only go skating once that entire season? So are individuals going to be exempt but teams have to, which is kind of discriminatory to them, or how's that going to just work?
Are you talking about skating as in someone from out of town coming in and just going for a full
Yes.
skate?
Yes.
No, they pay the same amount as everyone else pays.
Okay, so it's only for teams?
It's for teams, and we do occasionally get teams from out of town because we have a reputation of having a good facility with very good ice. And sometimes in other communities, it can be difficult for teams to get enough ice time. So we do get inquiries from out of town teams about coming and using our facility on days when obviously it's not in use. So that would be to accommodate that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No? All right, seeing none, then I move to take this meeting in camera under section 90.1, C personnel, and E acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements.